Welcome, everyone, and thank you for attending today's webcast, New Trends in 2014 to Engage Your Channel. My name is Stacy DeRosier, and I am the Vice President of Marketing here at Channeltivity. And today we are honored to co-present this webcast with our partner, TIEKinetix. And speaking on behalf of that organization is Sean Lisbon, Senior Account Executive. Just a few housekeeping notes before we begin today's presentation. The webcast is being recorded and will be sent to everyone who registered within the next few days. In addition, we are broadcasting the webcast in listen-only mode. We do encourage you to submit questions via our chat screen, and we will answer those questions during our Q&A session following today's presentation. So again, welcome to today's broadcast. For those of you that may not be aware of who Channeltivity is, we are the market leader in partner relationship management for technology vendors across the globe. As a SaaS-based application, Channeltivity is fast to deploy, requires no IT staff, and easily configures to meet the specific channel program requirements and workflows that drive channel success. TIEKinetix holds over 10 years of experience in channel content syndication, which allows them to understand the importance of consistency, transparency, and results across the partner community. The TIEKinetix channel marketing solution puts marketers in control of what goes live on partner websites and provides performance, visibility, and lead generation opportunities as well. For our agenda today, we will discuss some of the results of a survey that we at Channeltivity conducted in late 2013 around how people are managing, enabling, and engaging with their channel. For today's webcast, we will focus on the results and suggest some best practices around a few questions, focusing on the engagement of the channel through lead distribution, MDF management, and engaging your partners on programs and extending your overall brand through those partners. We will then take a deeper dive into the new trend of through partner marketing automation, what it means, and how to utilize it going into 2014. And finally, we will speak briefly about a company who is using Channeltivity's PRM system to manage their MDF program, combined with the TIEKinetix system to truly engage with your channel this year. Before we dive into the results of the survey, I wanted to speak briefly about managing your channel. There are three key things you need to remember when managing your channel, and most importantly, these three things need to work together to maximize your program's success. Number one, process. It is essential that you have defined the components and rules of your program. This includes everything from how you are going to manage lead distribution and deal registration to how you will manage an MDF program and everything in between. You need to make sure you have the systems in place to support those processes. And without the proper systems to manage who your partners are and their activities, you cannot truly carry out the processes you've defined for the program. And number three, finally, make sure that you have the right people in place to manage the channel, to create the relationships both internally and externally to make sure both you and your partners are successful. With these three key points in mind, let's take a look at the survey and some of the pitfalls and best practices you can put into place today. So just a quick overview into the types of organizations that were surveyed. As you can see, they were mainly channel managers and channel marketers, mainly coming from the high-tech vertical and managing 1 to 500 partners. One question we discussed in the engagement section was, how do you distribute leads? We all know that leads are costly, and in order for them to be converted to an opportunity, you need to act upon them quickly. So why are people still using email to distribute leads to their partners? Let's take a look at some of the pitfalls of distributing leads via email. With email, you receive no proof of any activity happening, both on the vendor side as well as on the partner side. There is no way to record who the lead was sent to, introducing you to potential channel conflict if more than one person is given that lead. And there's no tie back to any marketing program or deal. And all of this leads to a complete loss of visibility in the program, the leads, and their outcomes. So what are some of the best practices? Going back to the three key points I made earlier, process, systems, and people, let's look at some of the things you can put into place now. Number one, define those processes. Everything from who receives the leads, is it based upon their previous activity or the profile of the partner, to how do you want the partners to actually receive the leads, and then what do you want the partner to do with the lead to show activity and hopefully convert that lead to a deal. Then there's the systems. You need to choose systems. The systems that you choose is key to making sure that you define that what you have defined in the process is possible to be carried out. And so with Channeltivity, you can review previous activity through our leads and deals dashboards, partner profiles, business plans, etc. You can assign those leads to your partners and alert them via email that new leads are waiting for them in the portal. And you can also remind them if they have not touched them within a specified amount of time so that the leads don't go cold. And you can record the activity easily in the system and convert them with one simple click to a deal registration. Overall, making the entire process of working with leads easy for your partners. And the screenshot that you see is a view of that lead dashboard that I mentioned that you can use to quickly review the leads, see what leads have been assigned and which still need to be acted upon. And finally, you need to make sure that your channel managers and your channel marketers are working with their partners, reviewing the leads and supporting the sales process with their partners. A second question we asked around partner engagement was how vendors are managing their MDF program. As you can see, most are still utilizing spreadsheets to manage this very involved process. So what are some of the pitfalls of using those spreadsheets? Well, the process of distributing funds to partners is very difficult. With spreadsheets, the only person who truly knows what funds are available and what are used is the one person who manages the spreadsheet. And this may be fine if you're dealing with a handful of partners, but it absolutely will not scale. Partners will only remember they have funds to use if they see they have funds to use. With spreadsheets, there's no standard way to request those funds. Emails come in from all different sources with no standard fields or required information for partners to provide to request those funds, resulting in a completely haphazard process. Number three, the entire process is not visible to anyone. The partner has no idea if the funds have been approved or where their reimbursement is. The channel manager and the channel marketer have to go back and forth to the spreadsheet holder to provide answers to their partners. Number four, the proof of execution becomes a mess. Emails, faxes, letters, etc. come in from different places, and there's no one repository to hold that information to determine if a reimbursement is ready to be dispensed. Again, a complete loss of visibility into the program. Eventually, this loss of visibility makes the entire program difficult to manage and soon lowers the overall participation rate. A recent figure of MDF utilization is that only about 30% of funds actually are used during the year. Just think of all the leads and the programs you could do with your partners had they only known how easy it would be to request those funds. So what are some of the best practices? Again, develop a process to manage the program, including how to allocate and distribute those funds so that partners are reminded constantly of what they have available. Clearly articulate the requirements and guidelines for this program, and develop a workflow that will demonstrate to both sides what the process is, where any funds are, and if action needs to take place by either party to move the program along. And from a systems perspective, make sure that your PRM has the capabilities to support an MDF program. With Channeltivity, your partners can see their funds, including what has been requested, what has been reimbursed, and how much they have to work with. They can submit their request through a standard form, which your team can easily approve or reject the request. And finally, the entire process is visible to both sides with areas to submit information, record the history of the request, etc. And as a vendor, you can take a look at how the overall MDF program is functioning and work on improving areas that do need extra support. And then finally, make sure your channel managers and your channel marketers are working with the partners to develop programs and to execute on those. So we have spoken a little bit about the leads and the marketing funds as to ways to engage your channel. One other way to engage your partners is to market with them. And this can range from making sure that they simply have your logo on their website and potentially some additional information, to email campaigns and events. And one of the reasons we all decide to work with the channel is to really extend our marketing reach. However, as you can see from this slide, the whole process of doing this is generally very difficult to achieve. Yet, what we also found was that so many people are not utilizing available systems that are in place to engage easily with their channel. So at this point, I would like to give the presentation over to Sean, who is going to speak a little bit about the new trend of through partner marketing automation and how this can simplify your engagement with your partners. Sean?
Thanks, Stacy, and I'd like to welcome everyone as well to the TIEKinetix sort of portion of this webinar. And what we wanted to talk about a little bit was the through partner marketing piece, as you alluded to, and kind of go over some basic facts that we see in the space and how best practices, ways to address them. So, one of the things that makes through partner marketing so important from a general perspective is some of the statistics you can see from some various sources here. And one of the ones that really sticks out to me is that 2/3 of the buying process is completed before sales is ever contacted. So it's very important for the channel partners to understand that before they're ever getting a lead, before anyone's ever talking to them about your particular solution, um, they've already done quite a bit of the legwork, over 60% of it actually, based entirely on what they find on the web and they find when they do their orientation online. So it's basically very, very, very important for channel partners to understand that the ability to present marketing content on the web and present good information that'll help you drive leads, make sure that you have that information there before people come to your website because they're already making decisions before they ever contact you. And that goes hand in hand with what we see as really the partner's #1 request through the channel space, especially in B2B technology, is they're looking for net new customers. So they want more leads. So if those two things are tied mutually exclusive together, people are making decisions before they contact sales, and the companies you work with want more sales. It just makes sense that you should really be focusing on trying to get marketing content out onto partners' websites, control it, track it, generate leads with it, and make sure that you're combining the two areas together. So another interesting statistic here is really that what we find is when you look at some of the numbers, channel marketers report that less than 20% of the partners actually are regularly participating in demand generation offers. So when you're trying to generate demand through the channel, it's not just good enough to create campaigns or create content and put it somewhere for then use themselves, because you're fighting mindshare and bandwidth issues here in this space. You're gonna be up against that particular VAR might have 50 different manufacturers that he could resell, and you're just one of many. So it's not just good enough to spend the time and effort to create good content and create good marketing collateral to try to generate demand through the channel. You have to not only automate a task for yourself, but you need to automate as much of that task for the partner community as possible, so you can get rid of that number you see where there's 80% attrition rate based on that. And content syndication is a piece of the puzzle, as you can see, that really helps you get the automation out of the way. So if you think about demand generation for the channel, there's a lot of ways, specifically TIE as a company looks at it. It's really, there's different ways you can address the sales funnel, and you have to think of it exclusively through the eyes of the channel partner. So there's, in the pipeline piece, you're thinking of the visitor experience, right? So that's where that orientation comes in, right? So an end user has found a VAR's website. They're reading up on the VAR's services and offerings. If your brand is represented there, you want to make sure that you have good information about your brand, information that's engaging, good content marketing strategies where the end user wants to react with that content on the partner's website and fill out a form, download a white paper, watch a video, do something with your content that generates a lead for the partner. And that should be a very well qualified lead at that point, because they've gone through quite a bit of orientation to get there as it is. So you want to get control of the visitor experience first. That's where content syndication comes into play. You can push content out seamlessly to your partner's websites that you control. You could do something one time once and affect thousands of partners instantly, and you're not asking the partners to have a manual process. But then you want to look at, okay, now that I have control of that content, what do I do to drive traffic to that content? Because we also know that a lot of partners have very small websites. They're very regional. They might only get 100 visitors to their website a month. So you want to then look at, how do I drive traffic on their behalf? How do I help these partners, some of them who have very small marketing departments themselves, if any? How do I help them automate processes to try to get eyeballs on my content on their website so they can sell more of my product? And that's where moving to the traffic generation side of the funnel, looking at things for awareness and audience engagement, social media, email, pay-per-click, looking at individual assets you're syndicating based on very specific ideas. You're looking at promotions, you're looking at individual promoted videos, whatever it is, you're trying to get eyeballs there. And then the flip side of that is how do I better educate the salespeople that actually can close the deal face to face? How do I help them and help them actually convert higher once they get a qualified lead and they get a face-to-face appointment? How do I get sales and marketing collateral in their hands that's relevant, current, and will help them close the deal? So really, there's quite a few areas you can address the demand generation for through partner marketing area in this space. But it's good to kind of get a holistic view horizontally of sort of different areas to attack and how to get that sort of process moving in the right direction. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of kick it back to Stacy here for you to kind of go over the case study piece. So we have a mutual client. It's a tier 1 ERP supplier. And we're going to go over a little bit about how the ERP client addresses some of their channel problems by using Channeltivity and TIEKinetix together. So Stacy, if you want to go ahead and I'll give it back to you, you can maybe go through the Channeltivity side, and then I can go over the TIEKinetix side.
Absolutely. So this particular organization came to us. They had a rather extensive partner network, and they had decided to implement an MDF program to really start getting some marketing activities going with their partners. And they really just needed a way to do the overall management. A number of the reasons we already have discussed in some of the pitfalls and the best practices discussion from earlier. But overall, they just wanted to get a better handle around their MDF program. So they brought in Channeltivity. They were able to streamline their overall process as far as their MDF management goes, and to really start getting their partners to utilize those MDF funds. But one thing that they were looking for was they were looking for more ways to get their partners to actually utilize the marketing funds and to participate in the programs that they were outlining. And I believe, Sean, that's kind of where TIEKinetix came in.
Yes, and that's a great segue, Stacy. So what the same company came to us with was, we go through acquisition. We purchase smaller ERP companies, and we absorb their channels and their partners. And we need to get control of some of the branding that we have out there and get everything tucked under the umbrella correctly, so we can better position the product for growth and make sure that the partners are taking advantage of all the new creative content that we have as a brand. And then on top of that, we want to make sure that we're actually helping them market. We want to make sure that we're actually helping drive traffic to their websites, because we know a lot of them are smaller and don't have large marketing departments. So they wanted to combine what they were doing with Channeltivity and add sort of the demand generation for through partner marketing piece through TIEKinetix, because they really were looking not only to have a tool that they could put this sort of content into, but they really wanted to automate the tasks as best as they could for the partner and for themselves. And so they really looked to TIEKinetix to help kind of guide them on that demand generation piece through the partners, and make sure that it was a very simple to use process where they could push content out to partners' websites, control it, track it, analyze it, capture leads, send the leads directly to the partners. Everything that was going on in the back end through the Channeltivity setup.
Great. Great. Well, thank you very much, Sean. At this point, I wanted to turn it over to some of the questions that have come in during today's presentation. So we'll start with a few that have already come in, and please continue to submit any questions that you may have during the presentation or during this Q&A session. So let's see. With Channeltivity, how are the partners alerted when a new deal is assigned to them? So the way that the leads, let me actually just go back a little bit. With Channeltivity, you are able to import leads in a number of different ways into the Channeltivity system. And from within that, you would actually go and assign it to a partner. What the system would then do is it will send an automated email out to the partner, notifying them that a lead is available. And it'll give them some information in the email, but it will not include the company name or the contact name, which requires them to take some level of activity in order to find out more details on that lead. There is a link directly in the email that brings them back to the specific place within the portal where the the lead detail is spelled out. And then they can either choose to close the lead, saying that there's really no opportunity here, or continue to work with that lead and record any of the history and record their overall activities with that lead at any time. And then, of course, once they're ready, they can convert that lead to a deal registration through one simple click. So very easy. We do utilize email in order to alert the partners, but they can also view the portal at any time and see all of the leads that have been assigned to them, so that they can have one place of record where all of the leads are. Let's see. Actually, an extension on this is the next question. All of our leads live within Salesforce.com. Does Channeltivity integrate with that so we can distribute leads from Salesforce easily to our partners? Yes, Channeltivity is fully integrated with Salesforce. To implement or to export leads from Salesforce into Channeltivity, you simply need to make sure that you have the integration in place, and then you would simply click the checkbox that says Export to Channeltivity, at which time the lead would be exported into the Channeltivity system, and then you can follow the process that I just mentioned, where you assign the partner information and alert the partner. As a note, once you have assigned the lead to a partner, that information on who the lead was assigned to is automatically filtered back into the Salesforce system, so that you also have record internally as to where the leads have been sent. So, good question. Sean, I think this one is for you. Is content syndication only for large organizations?
That's a great question. Absolutely not. So while we do have the privilege of working with quite a few large companies and helping them with their global marketing needs through the channel, we actually work with quite a few smaller companies as well as startups. We have several packages in that area that are designed to help give out programs that help companies of any size get started with demand generation through their channel and through their partners without having a large spend. So that's absolutely not the case. We have quite a few different pricing models we can look at depending on the size of the company.
Great. Another question, I think this is for you, Sean, as well, is what type of content or partner caps do I have? Do I have to have if I sign up? Is there any requirements there?
That's another good question. Absolutely not. So the idea behind syndication, for example, as the first step of demand generation through the partner marketing, is really what you have. So starting with any sort of content that you have is the first place to start. We actually don't charge for content. So whether you start with a few individual pieces, thousands of pages, it really has no bearing on the system. And we actually don't charge for partner as well. So depending on which packaging and pricing we're looking in and what stage you are from a channel program growth perspective. We have different pricing sort of structures that based on startup packages, professional packages, enterprise packages. So there's really no minimum. I mean, if you're just starting out, you might be looking at something different than someone that's got thousands of partners, obviously. But we've got packages kind of put together in all phases of that. So.
Great. And I think this next question kind of flows onto that. Is Sean, how easy is it to deploy the TIEKinetix solution? Sean, did you hear that?
To get up and running
Oh,
and to get onto a platform like this. Usually, oh, I'm sorry, did I break up?
yep, you broke up just a little bit. So yeah, if you could just start that back from the beginning.
Sure. Can you hear me okay now?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Sure. So basically, we've been doing content syndication for about 14 years, and one of the core cruxes of rebuilding the platform repeatedly has been to get it as simple as possible for partners to use, and to make the sort of installation time as possible. So right now, we average anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes of a partner's time to get up and running and get content onto their website. And then the program from the administrative side is designed to be very, very simple. It's just based on sort of how much content you have and how readily available it is. So launching a program can be very, very short, and it can be very, very quick for the partners to get up and running. We've had examples of some clients having kind of going live and having literally over 100 partners within a matter of hours up and running with content on their website. So it can be very, very simple.
Um, this next question is around Channeltivity's MDF functionality. The question was, does your MDF functionality already come with a workflow process built in? And it does. It is a basic workflow process that is already built into the system. We have also a standard um, uh, request fund, reimbursement. Everything is basically already built in. However, with all of the Channeltivity modules, you can go in and further customize it to the needs of your business and your specific business processes that you have in place to manage your MDF program. So again, going back to that whole concept around process, we do make our solution very easy to customize to those processes to make sure that the MDF program is managed in the way that you desire it to be. But the basic workflow is already built into the product. And then this is one of the final questions, Sean, for you. And if we are just starting out with a solution such as TIEKinetix, where would you recommend we begin?
Good question. So really, I think the focal point to think of is content syndication as a crux. So you really want to get control of content on a partner's website and get that digital shelf space where you're able to push content there proactively. That allows you to open up the gates to the rest of the solutions where you can really start driving traffic to that content um, and doing things with a lot more lead capturing and a lot more asset capturing and then looking at things like emails and socials and ways to get people to go there. So content syndication is really the best first step. Looking at our platform is first thing to do.
Great. Thank you very much, Sean. I believe that's all the questions that we had at this point. So I would like to thank everyone for attending today. And as a reminder, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to either Sean or I. Our contact information is there on the screen for your use, and we would be happy to assist you. I do hope that you join us for future webcasts as we continue to discuss some of these new trends to manage, enable, and engage with your channel this year. So again, I want to thank TIEKinetix and you personally, Sean, for presenting with me today. And I hope everyone has a wonderful afternoon.
Thanks very much, Stacy. My pleasure.
Thanks.